All right, sisters and Fatima fans. Now, believe it or not, this is a video that doesn't have to do with Fatima. It's all about Crystal Renee Hayslett and her new YouTube series, Keep It Positive, Sweetie. It dropped episode 1 earlier today, I believe about an hour or so ago. I just got done watching the episode itself. It was about 50 minutes long. And think of it like a talk show, you know? And I gotta say this now, I'm not doing like a full review. I took notes, but not necessarily on the episode itself in terms of they talked about A, B, C, D. I wanted to do a quick video giving my thoughts on how I felt watching the show. She had guest and very dear friend of hers, Isaac Curry, on there, and they talked about survivor's remorse. And that right there was an interesting title. And once they got into the subject, I just could not stop listening. I didn't feel like this was 50 minutes long. If anything else, by the time they had finished up around the 37-minute mark, before, it was a kind of a taking questions from the audience kind of, show at that point, I was like, dang, 37 minutes. I didn't even feel it. I was into the discussion. The things I want to talk about real quick, what I loved about this, episode and what has me pumped for the next one. And if I remember correctly, towards the end of the video, it was stated this will come out weekly. So what is it, the 30th now? So I guess each Tuesday, maybe each Tuesday is when the new episodes will drop. But I think Crystal is an amazing host. She is very attentive, great listener when it came to Isaac. Great eye contact. And one of the most important things for any great host, she allowed her guest to speak. She didn't talk over Isaac. She didn't interject, his thoughts. She allowed him to speak. And whenever she did add to the conversation, whenever she did speak, she added to the conversation through her own life experiences. Now, maybe this could be a result since they're good friends, they've known each other, from back in the day. But something tells me that as more guests show up, that's a trend that's not going to stop in terms of Crystal being very attentive, allowing her guests to speak, and talking in a way that adds to the conversation. And it feels like, we got a front row seat to this conversation, and we're able to learn a bit more about Crystal and her guest at the same time. Really stood out to me there. The camera work, loved it. There were different, things that were done. It wasn't just simply, we're going to stay on Isaac when he's talking. We're going to stay on Crystal when she's talking. There were moments where we had kind of half the screen on Isaac, but then the other half of the screen is like we could see Crystal, how she was positioned on the couch, her reaction to some of the dialogue. It was great stuff. Also, this is a bit ridiculous, but I just got to point out, Crystal has one of the comfiest looking couches I have ever seen in my life. I've never seen a couch that big, but dang it, it looks comfy as I don't know what. I couldn't be a guest on that show because I feel like if I was sitting on that couch, I would just sink into it and just go to sleep. I know that's a random thing to point out, but that is a very comfortable looking couch. It's in my notes. I had to say it. And, even though I said I wouldn't do a play-by-play as to the talking points of the episode, that's mainly because I want you to watch the episode for yourself and get something out of it, because they really talked about some certain things I can relate to, in terms of when you start getting successful and the way people perceive you, especially family and whatnot, thinking that because, you making it, so they feel entitled to this, that, and the third. Trust me, I can relate to it. I'm not famous, but I'm doing well on YouTube, and trust me, I've felt that forced obligation. And thankfully, I've moved past that for the most part. That doesn't mean I still don't deal with it, but yeah. The openness about anxiety attacks. I've had at least 3 over the past couple of years. And it's interesting because just a random segue, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, that scene that went viral of when Puss the character was having an anxiety attack in the movie, and then that emotional support dog Pablo helped him through it. That was the reason I watched that film, and it's good because the entire film is amazing. But it's just interesting to know that people who I see on TV and whatnot go through those experiences as well. So it just makes them feel more relatable. Also, with Crystal, it seems like what you see is what you get. I have never met Crystal before. I think outside of some tweets / comment section responses, I don't think I've interacted with her. But, and look, like I said, I don't know her or anything, but something tells me that if I were to meet Crystal randomly, the person that I witnessed in this episode is the person that I would interact with in real life. Assuming I was not completely starstruck and just said something stupid, as in, you're Fatima. I don't know. But yeah, I just feel like she's genuine. And that's what made this show shine. But yeah, I just feel like Isaac's story was very good as well. Talking about how he came up, in music and whatnot. And how he's dipping his toe in acting. And just it feels like these two are really great friends. Like they support each other. It felt like as the conversation was going on, it felt like they were building each other up. Like, oh, I went through this rough time. Yeah, so did I. But hey, look at you now. And it's like, I just felt that. It just felt so good to see two people really building upon each other. That goes back to my praise towards Crystal for being a great host, allowing Isaac to speak, but at the same time adding to the conversation in a way where it felt like, okay, it's just like these two were playing tennis, knocking the ball back and forth, because they were really building momentum, leading to a great conversation that, to be honest, I wish was longer than it was. But yeah, other than that, that's really all I have to say. This was a great debut episode of Keep It Positive, Sweetie. So if you haven't already, make sure you take a moment to go over to Crystal's channel. Don't just watch the episode. Hit that subscribe button on her channel and hit the thumbs up button. Leave a nice comment. If you got anything out of the conversation, let her know in the comments. Seriously, it does go a long way towards helping out channels and their videos. But with that being said, can't wait for next week's episode. I don't know if I'll do a review. This was more of a, hey, I checked out Crystal's new show. I liked it, and I'll definitely watch the next episode. So, with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to my channel right here. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you've watched her episode, come back here. Or if you haven't watched the episode, go watch it. Tell her what you think in the comments there. And then come back to this video and let me know if you enjoyed it too. And with that being said, have a good one.